Should I go again?
About 4:01.
At 4:01 PM. Can we have a roll call, please?
Yes, I'm so sorry. Commissioner Edwards,
Here.
Commissioner Lindquist,
Here.
Vice Chair Whittington,
Here.
Commissioner Francone,
Here.
Chair Stillman,
Here.
alternate Flatiger,
Here.
alternate Mercado. You're not seeing them. Definitely have a forum.
Okay, fantastic. Do we have any revisions to the agenda?
I do not see them here.
I just want to make sure before we adjourn, I just want to update you on the active applications we have coming online for the upcoming meetings.
Okay, maybe we'll just add that as D under updates. Does that make, or do
We
you want to
can
do
do
it
it
housekeeping?
We can do it under updates also, yeah, it's fine.
Okay. Yeah, D, upcoming application. Okay, anything else, or do I hear a motion to approve the agenda?
Edwards moves to approve the agenda and say, second that.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Now, we have the minutes for July 9th, 2024. Once you've had a chance to read over those, and have any revisions or a motion to approve.
I move that we approve the minutes as written.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any public comment on items not on the agenda? Yes.
Steve Prestash, I live on 131 East Third Street. I'm having some roof
Let's see.
issues. I need to,
Could we get you to maybe stand at the lectern there, or just to make sure that you're seen to the extent as possible on the screen and everything? That's great.
Okay. And when you talk to Alan, so.
No.
okay, I live on 131 East Third Street. My name is Steve Prestash. Now, it's brought to my attention that if I have to, in Leadville, you should be able to redo your roof and not have a problem with it. Now I have to come to this committee and ask for a variance because I can't afford to put the plywood down. That's before I put the tar paper down, and I have some sheet steel to put on top of that. So, I have to go to the building department, get a building permit, and I'll have to ask them for a variance too, I imagine. So, I'm coming here first. I don't know when I'm gonna be able to get this done, but I need to get the process started in case somebody was gonna help me do this. There we go. Any questions?
What's there now? There's not plywood. What's under them now?
It's the thick boards,
The one buys
yeah,
different.
so they go across and there's maybe gaps like that, you know, between the boards.
So that's what was there for, like the wood shingles? That's what they had when they had wood shingles?
Yeah, there's still some wood shingles left, but on top of that, they put, whatever this rolled roofing. And then I had gotten somebody to take off, a little bit over half of it on the west side. The east side has a dormer, so we patched it with plywood and stuff, and it's, you know, so I need to take all that off and put some felt down and I have steel in the back, put on top of that. And if I run out of steel, I have some, roll roofing, you know, to put on top of it.
Yeah.
So that's what I wanna do, and I can afford to do that if I can get somebody to help me, and, that's where I am.
What's the condition of that one buy?
It's all great shape.
Good shape.
There's one corner where, on the east side, on the southeast side, need to be rebuilt, and the soffits need to be rebuilt, but I'm not gonna do any of that.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah,
Let's see, does this fall to you, Chapin, to your sort of department in terms of an application for re-roof?
Yes, the city staff can process an administrative COA application for roof repair, roof maintenance, roof replacement. And generally, what the standard they're gonna say is if you're replacing to match, or you're patching to match the existing material. Is that the case? You're sorry.
No, we're just getting rid of everything. I'm gonna put tar paper down and, I have some steel roofing I'm gonna put down on top of the tar paper. And when I run out of steel roofing, I have, 2 rolls of, asphalt. And then finish it with asphalt.
All right, so
It looks horrible now. It's been redone several times, so there's nothing historic on top of there other than
yeah,
the 1-inch stuff that's there.
so I would say that it doesn't need to come to the commission. It could be a staff level review, administrative COA. Application for an insubstantial modification.
Okay, and I put that in writing to you then.
Yes.
Okay, thank you kindly. Thank you.
Welcome. Any other public comment? Hearing none, we'll move on to housekeeping items.
Okay, I didn't know anything about camp, and I don't know if I just kind of lost my memory from the last few years, because this was a whole new thing to me, so. I gave you guys the information in case we wanted to check it out more. I really don't understand how it works, but we could apply to be. I don't even know.
Yeah, to be trained, it sounds like.
Yes, and we could get a grant anyway, and then she sent a reminder, out after and then so I included that in there, and I actually went to their website and watched a little video
Mhm.
on what they do at these, and it is so geared towards actual commissions. I mean, it is just something that I'm embarrassed that I didn't know about before. And I also wanted to bring it to you guys' attention to see if we want to get involved in it, or if we want to try to get one here in Leadville, or how. If you had an interest at all, I was just I learned something new every day, and this was one of those days. So if you want me to research it more, and like I said, there's an application in there. I think it's to be a host. I'm,
Or, yeah, it sounds like that there might be it would be held in conjunction with the Saving Places Conference in Colorado Springs on February 1st, 2025, potentially. So it might be to attend a
maybe
camp
it's to
session there.
attend that, because I just couldn't get enough information, but it sounded like a really good training session. I mean, it just, I'm, like I said, I'm kind of embarrassed that I didn't know.
I think, I'm wondering if this was under a different name, this program was under a different name previously.
That could be.
There was a director for History Colorado that led this, and he passed recently. And I think this may be a new program under a different name, but it's sorry, the same program under a different name.
Mhm.
But I believe I've attended this with HPC commissioners in the past at the February. The February Saving Places conferences.
Yeah. Do you remember whether you found it useful?
Yeah, I think it was very valuable.
Oh, yeah.
And, in the context of the code amendment that I've asked the city attorney to draft. That would make the HPC and the P and Z, our two commissions, decision-making bodies. Where council would then have the option to uphold those decisions on the consent agenda at city council. This would be another feather in the cap of the HPC for that code amendment to say. Not only are we requesting that the HPC be the decision maker, but this is an example of how the HPC is receiving specific training as commissioners.
What I didn't understand was it looks like they award up to $20,000 for one city. But then I couldn't tell if people from other cities are allowed to attend that city's training, or if it's just for your city and your city alone. Because 20 grand seems like quite a bit to train one commission.
Yeah.
It's like they award one grant to one city.
Well, but the cost of this is awfully high. I mean,
Yeah.
if you add up what they've got in their budget
Mhm.
sheet there, it's about $15,000 without adding all the other things that they allow you to add. So sounds like a really expensive program.
Yeah, and it sounds like maybe they're. At least my interpretation is that potentially multiple cities could attend this, but that then with this. It sounds like maybe it's tailored then to specific cities there. I don't know, anyway. I guess the question is, would we be interested and able to have people attend if it is this February 1st, 2025 in Colorado Springs date?
That's tough.
Could we even pull this together in a week?
Right, I mean, the application or whatever is due like next week sometime, so if we don't have much time, and I think I wanna call and find out more information from Lindsay. And I just. To me, in my head, I was trying to figure out if. If we were to host it or we were to get some kind of grant or something. How could we attend this without paying these thousands of dollars that it shows on that thing? I guess is what I was trying to come up with.
Yeah,
Is it some kind of incentive to say, hey, if you host it. You know, and have people come, then you can get your training. I just don't know enough about it.
yeah,
But I would really like for some of us to go to this training. Maybe not. At least by February, even if we have to pay for it, maybe we would. But I'll call Lindsay and follow up.
Why don't we
'Cause I don't understand.
learn more about it this year and then think about applying
Okay.
for it next year?
That's a great idea.
Because then we'll be aware of it before.
for 6
A week
days.
Before that.
Application.
And maybe see if we are allowed to attend it, even if it's at another city.
We could probably definitely attend it. I'm with Steve Whittington, Commissioner Whittington on the prices. That's not something we could afford. I mean, we've kind of barely been having enough money to go to Saving Places, and scholarships that we get for Saving Places help us make sure everyone gets to go. So I just can't see us squandering a $5,000 budget on one training. That just breaks us for the year. So we need to come up with something that I do agree with you, Steve. If we could do some more research and then figure out a way to fund it before we try to just.
It looks like we wouldn't have to necessarily put any money into it if we were the ones who got the award.
Okay, that's what I was.
Because it said that we could match it with in-kind, which means staff time or whatever the value of the commissioner's time is. So that would be a way to match it. I'm not sure how much, I don't remember how much we'd have to match though, to give a percentage or anything. I don't think so. It just seemed like a kind of a confusing description of the whole thing.
I absolutely agree. I don't understand it.
I guess I didn't, just reading through this, I didn't see that there was a cost. Like, in addition to the,
She gives a price sheet
okay,
that is,
Mhm. Yeah, and it does
I
say,
don't know, I don't think I understand that. You know what I mean? Is that for trainers to come out here and you pay them out of that 20,000 grant? I just don't understand it.
I guess if you can get some more information from Lindsay,
yeah,
email us what you can find out.
yeah, and then we'll plan to, if it sounds like something we want to do, we can plan to pursue one of these grants to do it in the future. That sounds like a good
Yeah.
idea.
thanks, Scott.
Okay,
I'm with you. We're not gonna be ready for anything by August of 19.
Yeah, it's not worth us putting our
I don't even
time,
understand it. I don't think I can understand it. I think.
not worth us putting our time in on it. If we don't understand it well enough to be sure we're gonna get it.
yeah, or even
That's a good one.
know whether we can or want to do it. Okay, then other CLG news,
Just the August, training was in there and I had to laugh because it's more about the sugar beet. It just made me laugh, but it's just your August training. There is training in there, so as usual, if you want to attend it, most of them are free, you can just enroll.
Okay. And then. The
That's just
campground
a
again.
reminder for the
Okay.
campaign that we need not discuss anymore.
Okay. Then any other housekeeping? Nope. Then his updates, historic walking tour development.
I actually got a 2-page draft contract from the paper this morning. I haven't had time to look through it, but I will and make some comments and I'll get it out to everybody to look at later this week. After that, I teed Lori Simonson up that it's coming, so she'll take a look at it, have the city attorney look at it. And we'll go from there, but we got our first little bit of progress this morning.
Fantastic. Thank you, Stuart. Is there anything you need from us or is the ball just rolling?
I think just if you could review it as quickly as possible when I get it sent out to everybody, get back
Okay.
to me with any comments. And I'll specify that in an email I send.
Okay, great. Fantastic. Any questions about that from any commissioners or staff?
Thank you, Stuart.
Thank you, Stuart. Yeah, thank you for sticking with this. I'm sure it's been.
There was some frustration for a while.
It's gonna be great, trust me.
Okay, moving on to tax credit workshop on September 10th. Stuart and I actually talked just about an hour ago about forming up the sort of publicity materials for that. So that Stuart and Jennifer can get to work and start getting those out. I did email Sarah Capel to ask about the translation thing we talked about last time, and I never heard back from her. So,
Welcome to my world.
yeah, so I can follow up if,
I can reach out to some county ones here, but I know their prices, I know.
Yeah.
We're not gonna get anything donated or free. I mean, even with the county, like, we still pay,
yes,
so I mean,
yeah,
I can definitely, I kind of wanted to look more into what you guys want to do with your flyer.
Hmm,
And as Commissioner Whittington pointed out, if you could put something in the flyer that if they needed any kind, don't specify what kind of interpretation, just any kind, like you said, if it's ASL.
Mhm.
That way we would at least know if it was.
Yeah.
If we needed to get someone, and I can secure someone on hold for that date
hmm,
and hopefully not be charged if we don't need them. So I'll take that over if you'd like.
okay, yeah, that would be great. And then, Stuart, are you planning to include something to that effect in the flyer and other materials?
Yeah, Jennifer's gonna help do the flyer, and so I'm not sure if she's there tonight or not and got that, but I'll pass that along to her. And we're gonna start working on the flyer. She primarily is this week. And I'll start putting the rough notes together to get to Joey, to get to his person that does the press releases. I think it's too soon to try to put anything out this week, but I think in the next week or two, the timing will be right. And I'll, send an email out to the EDC, the chamber, and tourism. Like we did last time, I'll take flyers and hand them out at the community coffee. Jennifer and her team do a great job on those flyers, so we'll make sure we put something to that effect in, and they always do a Spanish translation, and we'll just put on there that if you need a translator, make sure you RSVP and let people know about it.
Yeah, please. And if you guys could go ahead and put my email address on there for the RSVP, that way I
Yes.
will know. And Jennifer is here, so she's writing feverishly.
Stuart, if we can make sure that the paper puts us in the upcoming events, we could go ahead and get that done too. Cause it can stay in the paper for a couple of months.
Oh, good, okay.
Yeah, there's
Um,
upcoming events as separate from the calendar.
Yeah, I don't know that far up, but I'll talk to Finn about that and see if we can get that in there.
Sounds great. Stephanie would be able to do that as well.
And I can add it to the city calendar of events, because that also goes to the paper as well. So, and it'll be on our website and all that, so I'll add that to the city calendar.
Did we decide a time, the last?
I think we did 5 to 7 like the last one,
Yeah,
correct?
yeah, just same as last one, since that seemed to work. And, yeah, we can always mix it up if necessary, but that, while that works, I guess.
We have scheduled a work session for like a garage addition project on that date.
A work
So,
session.
will we still plan to convene at 4 P.M.?
Yeah.
Do our, okay, so then we just need to wrap up that work session by 5.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
we can
I
probably.
just put that workshop on the agenda,
Okay.
and I'll, but then.
Okay.
Yeah, well, we can clean it up with 5 to 7 P.M.
Okay.
So Lori, can you make sure, do you still reserve the room? Are you able to do that for us?
The council chambers?
Yes.
Yes, I can do that. I will reserve it for that day.
Okay, and then also, is there a way to get a little blurb in the city's newsletter? Beyond just the calendar date, but maybe even a little article about it?
Sure, I can talk to Sarah about that. I'm not sure when the next one comes out. Yeah, she's out of the state, so I'll get with her.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions or things we need to address for the tax credit workshop?
I have weird questions,
Mhm.
like.
Yeah.
Like, do you want snacks? Do you know, that admin thing behind the scenes? Do you want water? Do you want drink? Do you want anything at this?
What did we do for I forget what we did for researching your home, did we?
We didn't do anything for
Yeah.
researching your home because it was more of a. We didn't do anything.
Like
for that.
hands-on laptop?
Yeah,
kind of.
everybody was on their laptops and they were all, and if that's the way this is gonna be, it didn't seem to be a problem not to have anything at that workshop, so.
Yeah.
We certainly don't need to, I just wanna be prepared.
What do you all think?
I don't think it's necessary. I think, yeah.
I'm coming here to focus on the task at hand.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a workshop rather
Yeah.
than an open hall.
Yeah.
Right, rather than the open house, is where we had some more,
Well, and this one would have even more specific people here for a specific purpose, so I don't know.
okay, so no, okay,
Okay.
thank you, makes my life easy.
Yeah. Yeah, cross that off. Anything else? Okay, hearing nothing, CLG
Can I ask
grant.
one other quick question, and maybe Lori asked this, but do people need to bring anything? Like laptop or,
Yeah, potentially laptops if they want to be able to access the application online and be able to go through the steps of going to the website on History Colorado and seeing the different forms and all the stuff that I'm sure Steve gave himself headaches going through whenever he did it last.
I'll
I
say
think
it's suggested but not needed.
Yeah, probably similar to researching your home where it would be helpful to be able to do it hands-on with somebody there who is doing it on the screen and can guide you through. But you'll also be able to get something out of it if you don't have a laptop.
Okay, thank you.
You still not gonna be here for that, Steve, you still, no?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I gotta go to my wife's 55th high school reunion.
Oh, wow. Congratulations. Thank you, Stuart and Jennifer, for getting all that stuff together, publicity and marketing wise. And hopefully we'll have a turnout similar to researching your home. That would be incredible. Right, then moving on to CLG grant and Metcalf update.
Okay, I'm just me, so I'm not, I was trying to rein something in and I'm like, forget it, they know who I am, I just talk too much. In this whole transition thing, with me going to the fire department, it's been kind of nerve wracking anyway with our grant, so I've been nervous and then. Metcalf had the issues with their staffing, so, but. Also in this transition, I was not aware that. It doesn't matter, let's just get to the point, I can't seem to focus. Okay, I got an invoice from Metcalf. So as soon as I got that, of course, I did a bill for them and got it ready for payment and all that, but I also emailed Metcalf to let them know that I was still kind of involved in all this. And that I would be paying the invoice. And I also told her that Chapin was out last week, this is when I sent it. But Chapin and I would like to have a meeting with them to talk about our future projects.
Mhm.
And embarrassingly enough, she didn't realize I was still involved with the HPC and the grant and everything, and she had just the day before that sent Chapin and Andrew an email saying, hey, there's a invoice coming, and kind of giving them the updates of, they have two historical archaeologists. I always have trouble with that one. And things were going great. She did say that for the end of, we have deliverables due in September.
Mhm.
And they will have the 100% of those CRSs to us by the 19th, I think she said, is that correct?
Yes. Yeah.
For our review, before they're due to History Colorado, at the end of September. No, September 15th,
9:15.
yes, okay.
So we'll get them on the fifth,
So
by the
we'll get
15th.
them
Or
about a
before.
month before. And then Chapin will get to review them, and then Lindsay at History Colorado will also be reviewing them and take our comments as well as have their own. So we're expecting those to be here by the 19th or so, and then we'll have to turn those around pretty quickly to give, if we have anything to say.
Yeah.
To make sure they have time to do any revisions, because they are due. And I talked to Lindsay, Andrew and I had a Zoom meeting with Lindsay last week as well. The 15th is a guideline for the deliverables. It is not a drop dead date. So if we're not there on the 19th or the 15th, then we're okay with a few days behind that. So, but Jennifer of Metcalf's whole point was to try to give us enough time to review and then give them enough time to make revisions before they were actually due. So we're right on schedule for that, and then hopefully if Chapin has any time at all this week, because he's probably playing catch up last week, we are gonna try to meet with them, and it's mainly about going forward. I do believe that they feel like they're staffed enough to handle the next two, cultural resource surveys as well as the historic context.
So they do feel
They
comfortable.
do feel comfortable now, so I just kind of wanted. At some point in the next month or two, I may be. I was gonna say gracefully, but come on, that's not good. Gracefully bowing out, depending on how Chapin wants to handle this going forward. So I'm really wanting for us all to be on the same page, and just because of the transition we're having, I don't want it to slow any project down. So
Yeah,
the most important thing is our CLG grant has a hard expiration date. The State Historical Fund grant does not. So this first grant that we're in right now has really got to be taken care of and make sure that we stay on top of it so that we don't miss that expiration date, because everything has to be done by then. And then when Chapin and I have a meeting with Metcalf, we can start moving forward with that State Historical Fund grant, because we just haven't really said anything to them, because we didn't know if Metcalf was gonna be our consultant or not, so.
yeah, but if they have the capacity and if these look good and
That's
strong.
kind of the main thing I would think Chapin is wanting to see and we kind of wanted to be consistent and use the same company, but if we still have issues with these 100 coming back that we had on the first 11. We might need to look at it differently.
We just won't know until we get there.
We just won't,
I'm
yeah.
confident in Metcalf.
I am too, I really am. They've done this several times with other grants and other people, so I'm not real concerned about it.
We should get those next week, and then on the agenda for the following meeting, I think. It's 8/27,
Mhm.
I put on the agenda the review of those surveys. So that we can then have, I guess, a couple weeks to include in the HPC comments. So I guess we may have a big packet, because we may just try to drop all those in there so that you can see them, although obviously when you do the others, well.
Yeah, and maybe if you've already had a chance to read through some of them, if there are any problems you see,
Yeah,
or you could put an example or two,
yeah,
That's a great.
but you could also just drop them all. And we can figure it out.
right.
Okay, that sounds great. It's good to hear that they are on schedule to deliver 100% of those, and that they have the capacity if,
Right, that was very exciting to me is going forward, because now that we have all the money,
yeah,
we kind of need a firm to do it.
Yeah.
So, and we want to get that going, that process going, because there's contracts and things that we have to sign with them and everything to get it going on the status for the fund grant.
yeah, and whenever you all have that meeting, if it comes up, it would be good to get a timeline for how long they think the next phase would take, just to sort of get a sense of what we're looking at there.
That's a good one.
Okay, any questions about any of that? We just learned.
Oh, well, we know what streets are gonna be in phase 2.
Oh god, I forget now.
That's not.
Yeah, so this one that we just did is what, 7th, 8th and 9th up here on the hill? 8th and 9th up here on the hill. There's gonna be like West Elm and Chestnut
Yes.
down there, and like 9th and 10th up here, Healy House and blocks coming right into town, sort of just up the hill here.
Okay.
I think on both sides of Harrison and Poplar, or at least both sides of Harrison. I'm not sure whether it goes
Yeah,
all the way
I
on the other side of
remember. I have to
Poplar,
pull
but
it
it's like
out.
4 to 6 square blocks or something.
Yeah,
But
but there's 2 cultural resource surveys left, right? And then the 1 historic context.
yeah, that's what's funded by the State Historical Fund
Right.
grant, is those 2 neighborhoods plus a general historic context for the entire city, laying out its sort of historical and architectural development over time.
Okay.
And then after that, we still have 3 to 5 neighborhoods cover, something
And that's
like
on
that.
not a priority 2. I
Yes,
mean, this will take care of the priority 1s that
Mhm.
were recommended to us, and then we go to the priority 2.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then we can draft local designs.
Right.
Yeah. and
That's
then.
when they start that process.
Yeah, by the time we're done with all this in like 2032, the town will have changed enough, they need to start the process again.
Take that curious significance again, right?
But yeah, thank you for that. Or anything else about the CLG grant or Metcalf? If not, thank you, Lori and Chapin, for staying on top of that. Then Chapin, upcoming applications?
Sure, all right, so. See, after tonight, the next meeting. We do the review of the surveys. And this is when it really starts rolling, so after that, we have. Work session on the garage at 121 West 9th Street, so just across the street. That would be in conjunction with our tax credit workshop, that's on September 10th. And then the meeting after that on September 24th. Also across the street, we have the formal application for the Engelbach House, 815 Harrison, so this is the house across the street with, what would you call that, turret? With the, yeah, and so this is, it's a big one, this is an addition. I haven't fully evaluated their plans yet, I have another submittal meeting coming up with them to walk through their plans.
But on the 24th, it's a full
Like
COA.
full COA on 9/24 for that project, so, so that's an active application. And, let's see here. Then. We also have. The Manhattan building is submitting for the window modifications, which will come for its formal COA.
Okay, will that also be on the 24th, or is that just future undefined
I'm
date?
not sure yet, I'm just waiting to get his complete application done.
Right, but we've already had work sessions on both of those, yeah.
And Chapin, when is the work session on the garage on 9th?
September 10th.
September 10th.
So the same date as the workshop.
Yes. And so
Okay.
we'll do that shortly after 4 and then wrap it up by 5.
Yeah,
All right. Yeah, we'll have to move through the rest of the agenda pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Well, we'll try to keep the agenda very light. I mean, there'll be some updates, housekeeping, and then the work session, but that, the
Yeah.
main bulk of the agenda should be the work session.
We try not to schedule more than 2 main events whether it's two COAs or two work sessions or a workshop or something else. Will be,
Yeah,
But we'll have from 4 to 5 to be able to do that, so should be plenty of time.
yeah, and it's just a work session, so we don't have to make any decisions, we can just.
Right, let's just kind of guide the applicant.
Mhm.
and those are just the things that have been submitted, we're having multiple pre-application meetings each week on, for projects that we're expecting to submit, so. It's, things are busy.
Great, thank you, Jamin. Is the process that's in place right now working well?
Yes, I think that, the two improvements I think that I would like to make would be one, as I mentioned earlier tonight, having our commissions be our decision makers, with having that upheld city council. There's for a variety of reasons, I think that would make for a more efficient, effective process. Especially for some of these smaller projects like deck additions or small bulk outs on historic houses that. On the rear of a house that might be relatively minor, doesn't necessarily need a whole second public hearing for an applicant. And then I think maybe just a little more clarification as we started working with the definitions of substantial and insubstantial. There may be a few more clarifications to help distinguish for some of these projects that really can be made, decisions can be made at staff level. So we're not bringing, maybe like a deck for a public hearing. But still giving staff the discretion when it's on the front of the house affecting the primary facade on the historic building that could be elevated to HPC for public hearing. So those are, other than that, I think, yeah, the process is working great, and we just need full-time, we need full capacity in our department. Alex goes full-time in a few weeks.
Okay,
And
fantastic.
I'm trying to push a lot of fairly straightforward COA applications that will come from you, make that become bulk of his work.
Okay, great.
Can I ask a question just for my own clarification? If somebody is going to replace a roof with essentially the same material, does that require that they submit a COA application to you?
Yes, let me pull the exact language here.
Yes, but it wouldn't require a hearing.
Yeah, it'd be insubstantial staff.
But they would have to submit the application.
And so a substantial modification would include the replacement of roofing material.
Okay.
Yeah,
But that's administratively approved, but it does require the application.
Doesn't,
yeah. Yeah, and that's zero cost to the applicant, right? For an insubstantial like that, or is that?
if they're submitting it with their building permit application, I've not been requiring a separate COA application.
Okay.
If they haven't selected a contractor and they just want to see if it can be something that can be approved,
Uh,
then I will require the $75 COA fee.
okay,
But I encourage them to, if they can, let me know what they're going to be doing, say, this is something that I can approve. So then they can, whoever that is pulling their permit, I can just sign off on the building permit application as a dot fee.
that sounds great. Yeah, because if we can keep those fee costs down, people will be happy and
Totally.
yeah, reduce burden on people.
Exactly.
What about if somebody's redoing their foundation, is that substantial, insubstantial?
Redoing the foundation.
Yeah, putting a foundation under a mud sill.
That's I have had one of those, I think I did process that as I had them submit elevation, so they could clearly specify what was being proposed, but then that they were not elevating the elevation, so they had to provide like a USGS elevation.
Oh,
So showing that they were clarified with a note that they were not raising the building up, in relation to the street level or anything. But then I think I processed that, I haven't checked what the code says, but I processed one of those as a insubstantial
okay.
staff
But it
level.
does
But
require.
it did require a COA because it was affecting the exterior. Because it was visible from the exterior.
Oh,
like the foundation, concrete foundation came up from grade where the sidings started. So there was a portion of the foundation that was visible.
gotcha, okay. All right, how about if it's not a complete foundation, but they're just kind of putting pillars underneath it, just to stabilize it the way it is, kind of. Same
I
category.
think if it's structural work that's non-visible from the exterior, then it doesn't require a certificate of appropriateness.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Great, thanks.
Yeah.
Okay, any questions about any of those upcoming applications or anything going forward? Great. One thing that just occur to me, we talked briefly last time, maybe after the meeting, about potentially doing an expanded local district. Do you remember that? I don't think it would be worth talking about that anytime really soon, but we should just
Right.
sort of keep that in our mind for the fall, once potential busy season is over.
I think I put it
September,
on
October.
one of the meetings, for the upcoming, 4 or 5 meetings out.
Okay,
Did not have one of those,
perfect.
like an active item, public hearing on there. And that was essentially, we didn't talk about this as a commission, just a few of us who were later
Yeah.
afterwards talked about this. But the idea of, some kind of regulations for a transition area between our historic district core and essentially the unregulated, area of the rest of town that does not have design standards. And it doesn't, maybe it's not a significant area. The question is, should there be, maybe it's a block in each direction, that has some design standards. So you don't have stark contrast in the places of, very regulated with our historic design standards and then no design standards. And just put in calling out, maybe like a transition area, maybe it's a block. To help maintain that, transition that character.
And maybe it's 2 blocks in one direction and 1 block in another direction,
Sure,
but for
right.
instance, you don't end up with an industrial park adjacent to historic Harrison Avenue. That type of thing. That's gonna be super important because the city and the county both are beginning work on the comprehensive plan, which will be active for the next 10 years. And that needs to be part of that dialogue if we want to include that and have some type of a soft transition between National Historic District and non-National Historic District.
Good
That
example
was
would
perhaps
be
even at the time.
the Justice Center site.
Mhm,
that we
exactly.
Because,
Do you want a self-storage place immediately behind our National Historic District marker? That's the kind of thing that we could try to plan for and at least get mentioned in the comprehensive plan. Yeah, super important.
Fantastic.
Do you think it would be possible to just discuss the idea of including some of the historic East mining district in this? Would, maybe there's not design standards, but maybe there's a way to prevent some of those old mine buildings from being torn down?
Well, in terms of regulation outside of city limits.
Yeah.
We would not be able to regulate that.
Yeah, for that, did we ever get an answer about that, like, east side mining district thing?
Poppy at, when she was at the National Park Service, those are designated on their own.
Just as like individual
Just
sites.
individually, and we need to do some more research, but the point is they are not in city limits.
Yeah, but if we wanted to get ambitious at some point after our current projects are done, we could talk about having we would probably need some kind of survey done or some sort of, or a nomination written up. If we wanted to either expand the Leadville Historic Landmark District or Historic District, or do a separate sort of Leadville mining district.
Right.
That would then be kind of,
And Poppy is at state now instead of the National Park Service, and that's something that she's very interested in helping us do.
Okay.
But she knows that we're in the process of
yeah,
major important
Yeah,
part
we
of the actual.
if the sort of
historic
set
district.
priorities.
Right, and she knows after this that we want to, and that's another reason that she would like to see us expand our boundaries. Either to include some of those, or like you said, keep them separate, but have them be part of what we are, so. They're out there and they are districts of their own. So it's something we need to stay on top of for the next few years, just once we get past all of our stuff. So,
It's Joey's point, with the comprehensive planning work that we'll be doing over the next year, in partnership with Lake County. That is a great conversation to have during comprehensive planning priorities. Particularly because that includes Lake County land.
So two things there, that expansion could inform residential development because the vast majority of infill development left is going to be on the Upper East Side. As several new subdivisions have made application in the past.
Yeah,
Most of those are dormant at this point. But I personally have lots of maps and lots of documentation on the mining district that would be made available for the HPC if we wanted to look at mapping and what could potentially be included and what couldn't, and what documentation we can provide. I should have plenty of that.
yeah.
And that cell tower referral that we received, the section
From
106
16.
review, it referenced I think it was like the pending designation
Mhm.
of that. But I haven't researched that any further, but that was the language they used.
And that application is an old application. That application was from 4 or 5 years ago, but there was there
It's
was
just
talk
sitting
about
out
that.
there, yeah, I think it's sitting out there, I'm not sure where it's.
And that it might have been done by the previous HPC, I don't know, but
Well, we can check.
that mention on that application for the communications tower was an older application. So it's
Well, I
not
know
just,
it's
Older,
an ambitious idea, but I think if we could be part of preserving all those old mine buildings, it would be important if we can figure out a way to do it at some point.
Joe, you mentioned the older application, the older historic district application to.
so that new application that was approved, mentions an older historic designation area.
Yeah,
Right,
is
sorry.
there reference like a pending designation?
But that reference of a pending designation was from several years previous.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Okay.
It was confusing when that hearing came up.
Okay,
But somebody has talked about it in the past and it was recognized in the FCC application.
right.
And state is aware of them, so I know that there's something out there.
Yeah.
I wonder if does the county, when you're on the planning and zoning commission for the county, was that ever discussed?
The mining district
Yeah.
is never, ever discussed. It just doesn't come up very much, but it wasn't discussed very much when we were looking at the application for the residential development, which then potentially could be annexed in.
Right.
And I can't remember the name of that district, but it included lots of old mine sites there, that would have been a part of that development. But beyond that, we don't discuss it very much in planning and zoning.
Okay.
Would love to, but it would be ideal to have that come up for the comprehensive plan.
Yeah.
Great. I'm glad that we at least are thinking about it, even if the county is not.
Yeah, that's lots on everybody's plates, but
Yeah.
definitely not a priority for the county.
Yeah, anything else on any of that or other topics? We almost have everybody for the HPC picture, sometime soon, it will happen.
We can all stand on the table and.
Yeah, it's not here, but let's do it right there.
We could just Photoshop them in.
I have
Could
faith.
take a few years off, darken my hair up a little bit, I'm all for it.
We will get it done. Then finally, any final public comments on other items not on the agenda? Alright, hearing none, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
I move we adjourn the 8/13/24 Historic Preservation Commission meeting.
Edward seconds.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, the HPC meeting for August 13th, 2024 is adjourned at 4:49 PM.
The record.
Okay, but
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Stuart.
Thanks, Stuart.
Yeah, I ran here with my.
You got, like,